Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a revolution that's happening right now in Indian advertising. Seriously, it's not just a small shift, it's a total and complete reset. We're going to break down the massive forces that are driving this change and, what it all means for the future of media in India.
So get this, in 2025, the game completely changed. I mean, forever. For the very first time, digital didn't just lead the advertising market in India, it basically became the market. It now commands a staggering 60% of all ad money. And listen, this isn't just another trend, it's a whole new era. Okay, so the big question is, how on earth did we get here so quickly? It's not just about more people having smartphones. No, this is about a fundamental change in how we even define the advertising market. Turns out, there were these incredibly powerful forces that were silently reshaping the entire industry right under our noses.
Right, so to really wrap your head around that 60% number, you kind of have to throw out the old rulebook. The very definition of the ad market, what the industry calls the ADEX, has been totally rewritten. It had to be, to reflect this new digital-first world we're living in.
I mean, just look at these numbers. The old way of seeing things put the market at around 115,000 crore rupees. But the real picture, the expanded reality, is almost 40,000 crore rupees bigger. So why such a huge difference? Well, it's because the old math was completely missing two massive, and I mean massive, growth engines. And here's the key. The new expanded ADEX, it still counts all the usual stuff, search, social media, and video ads. But, and this is crucial, it now adds in two other giants. All the ad money being spent on quick commerce platforms like Blinkit and Zepto, and the previously uncounted digital spending by millions of small and medium businesses. Together, they make up this huge hidden digital economy that has just burst into the open. And this pie chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? When you use this new, more accurate math, digital spending is over 93,000 crore rupees. That's a clear 60% majority of all advertising in India. It leaves every single traditional media platform, TV, print, you name it, to fight over what's left of the pie. Okay, now this is where it gets really wild. Digital advertising didn't just grow. It was the only thing that grew. In fact, while digital added over 8,000 crore rupees to the market, all of traditional media combined actually shrank by more than 700 crore. Just think about that for a second. Digital wasn't just the biggest growth driver, it was the only one. So if digital is the only part of the market that's growing, what does that mean for everybody else? Let's take a look at how this digital explosion is creating a pretty tough new world for traditional media, basically forcing a major moment of reckoning. Let's start with television, right? The undisputed king for decades. Well, traditional TV ad revenue actually went down by 5% in 2025. But that's not the whole story. If you zoom out and look at the entire large screen world, which now includes the booming connected TV space, the picture is more about transformation. Audiences are just shifting from watching what's on to watching what they want, when they want. For newspapers, the story is really about a widening divide. While the big English papers are more or less holding their own, a lot of the regional and vernacular papers, we're talking Hindi, Tamil, Bengali, they're facing a really steep decline. Advertisers are just moving their money to digital where they can target specific people and see exactly what results they're getting. And that's leaving a lot of really important local newspapers in a tough spot.
This table pretty much sums up the battlefield. Billboards or out-of-home advertising, that was the only bright spot, actually showed some growth. But for everyone else, it's a story of shrinking or having to completely reinvent themselves. Radio, for example, is pivoting. It's finding new life by focusing on super local, tactical campaigns instead of trying to reach the whole country at once.
Okay, so with this whole media landscape being redrawn, how are the biggest brands, the biggest sectors in the country reacting? Well, they're not just adapting. They are literally rewriting their playbooks as we speak.
Let's start with the big consumer goods companies, the FMCG giants. They're now running what you could call a twin-engine strategy. As you can see, TV still gets half their budget, right? They need it for that mass reach to build their brand in everyone's mind. But now, a massive 47% goes straight to digital, for everything from super specific targeting to driving a sale on an e-commerce site that very second. Now the auto industry, they have totally changed their game. Digital is now the biggest piece of their pie at 45%. They use it to manage that whole long journey from someone's first curious click all the way to a test drive. But look at that other big slice, 39% in other. They're still using things like print and huge outdoor ads to build that all-important feeling of trust and premium quality. And then you've got the e-commerce players. And this one is, well, no surprise at all. Digital just dominates with a 76% share. For these companies, digital isn't just a marketing channel, it's their entire business. TV is now used like a surgical tool, only brought out for huge brand-building moments or massive sales events like the Big Billion Days.
Look, this new reality, it isn't some temporary blip. It is a permanent reset. And that means it demands a fundamental change in how every brand, every marketer, and every agency thinks if they want to do more than just survive. They want to thrive.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. In a world where digital makes everything measurable, the old idea of an ad budget is just obsolete. Every single rupee you spend has to be treated like an investment, like capital that is directly responsible for delivering real, tangible business growth.
And believe me, this is only the beginning. The trend is just getting faster. Forecasts are predicting that by 2026, digital share of this new, expanded Indian ad market is going to climb even higher, all the way to an incredible 64%. The forecast paints a really clear picture. Digital is expected to just keep swallowing up all of the market's growth, pushing its share past 64%. And at the same time, the shares for old-school platforms like TV and print are set to shrink even more, dropping to under 19 and 13%. So for the agencies that are advising all these brands, the mission is crystal clear. To win in a 64% digital market, you can't just be a buyer of ads anymore. You have to become an architect of intelligent, AI-driven growth systems that connect every single marketing dollar directly to a business result.
This great media reset isn't something that's coming in the future, it is the reality of today. It's changing everything about how brands talk to people. And so as the market just speeds towards the 64% digital reality, the real question isn't if you need a new strategy, but what is it going to be?